Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm doing a discussion over the newest unlock, Extraordinary Adventures. I was like, which one was this called? Now, this is going to be a hopefully spoil-free review. I'm not going to go into detail on every single one, enough that it's going to be like, oh hey, let's just reveal every single puzzle about all three of these scenarios. But I feel like it's been some time since we actually had a triple big box unlock series. I mean, they've come such a long way, because they used to just be single pack like boxes, and then they kind of quit doing that, releasing the triple pack with varying difficulties of easy, medium, and hard. Easy, medium, and hard, you know. And then their last one was, what was it called? It was Legendary Adventures, or the Game Adventures, maybe. Legendary Adventures with the action story Robin Hood and Sherlock Holmes, which I believe I've done a review for. And then they started doing these short adventures, these $10, like, just kind of like single packs that I haven't done any of those. They could be good. They seem to vary in difficulty as well. I'm sure that they're fine, if I had to guess. But yeah, I feel like I haven't seen a triple box unlock in quite some time. So whenever I saw this, I was like, oh, awesome. Because I love the unlock series, regardless of if they're, you know, really bad cases or, you know, because like the ones that are good are like really good. And then they clearly have some stinkers. I'm always excited. This has 100% kind of been my go-to escape room series. I have completely, you know, fell off from the Exit series. Those are just, they suck. I hate the Exit games. But Unlock is done so well. And what do I think of Extraordinary Adventures? This is one of their best boxes, in my opinion. The three that they have in here have so many nods, maybe not so many, but have nods to their other games, like other cases that they've done, which was such a delight because I've played every single one except the short adventures, that I was like, it was just wonderful to jump in and have every single one be completely unique, you know, amazing with the app integration, and just felt so rewarding. So let's talk about them on a surface level, starting from the first one, which is called Restart. And this is kind of a video game theme. The best way I can describe it, while I've never played these games personally, I have watched streamers and YouTubers play them through. They remind me of like the 80s point-and-click adventure, kind of like Space Quest, any of those Space Quest games. That is exactly what Restart feels like. And funny enough, that's the easiest one, and the reason why I put these in quotes is because the difficulty level, I don't really know what it means. I've always thought that it meant that the clues were going to be easier, you won't use as many hints, you have leeway on time. In this instance, the Restart one was the one that we did the worst on. And I always play this with my wife. It's always 2 players. I don't do more than that. And that's the one we did the worst on. That's the one that required us to have the most hints and got the worst star rating. But the theming and everything about it, like the clues that it had, you know, once we, you know, got the hints and stuff, didn't feel cheap. Because there are some, definitely, that it's like, no one's thinking of that. Like, that is so far left field that I know my brain doesn't work for a lot of the clues. I can't imagine anyone's brain would work for some of these. And Restart immediately starts off like that. And I was like, oh no. Like, do I have to be on the spectrum to be able to do these anymore? I don't know anymore. But luckily, every time you did get a hint in Restart, it was like, oh, okay, that's clever. I like that. But the theming of Restart is so cool. The nod that they have to it, I don't think this is a spoiler, but they have another video game one in their Heroic Adventures box called Insert Coin, which is also their easiest one in that box. Insert Coin is super, super cool also. But they have a slight nod to that one in this game, which is, again, very neat. I like how they throw in, like, references. But yeah, it's basically like the concept of Space Quest, very video game-esque, really, really interesting on how they go about it, and the app integration, which is why I think Unlock has just done so well. And Exit is like, really? I still have to cut up the box? Okay. Well, I'm glad it was at least $15. But this is 30, so essentially each little case is $10, which I guess is why they sell the short adventures for $10. Yeah, Restart, the worst one we did, but still my personal favorite actually out of the three, even though it had some clues that I was like, no idea, would have never gotten that. Then we move on to the medium one, which is the Hollywood Confidential. And this one is kind of your more noir-esque, going through old Hollywood in the 50s. I want to say it's the 50s. Yep, 1950. And this is kind of, they have a few that are like these. In some of the other ones, they have, let's see. Yeah, they literally have a Sherlock Holmes one, the Scarlet Thread murder. They have a Arsène Lupin and the Great White Diamond, kind of that same vein. And funny enough, the reference in this one is tied to one in Epic Adventures over the 7th screening. That has attest to that. But what was it called again? It was called Hollywood Confidential. This one was my least favorite out of the three, but it was still incredibly fun. Like, all the clues in this one just made sense. And they have a lot of really cool old Hollywood, like real-life Hollywood actors. Like, there are some people that are drawn in here that is like, that is 100% that person. That's Audrey Hepburn, or that is Marlon Brando, or that, like, it's clearly drawing from real-life Hollywood. And they use the app very interestingly in this one, and it wasn't so like Sherlock Holmesy. Like the Sherlock Holmes ones, it's kind of like, okay, how am I going to think like Sherlock? This doesn't really have that. It feels a lot more forgiving than having to be like, okay, we didn't go to the scene of the crime, so I guess that we just missed the lead, and now we have no idea what we're doing. This did have a few elements like that, where it's like, well, what do we do? But then you just kind of look at what the information that you have, and then you look around, and you're like, what if we try this? Restart has that as well. You're just kind of like, oh, let's just try this, and it works, and you're like, that's funny, because that's what those old 80s, arcade video games were like. And Restart did have a lot more of just kind of like no idea what to do. And even that alone made it even more thematic. Because in the 80s, and I'm only talking from perspective here because I wasn't born in the 80s, but from watching a lot of like YouTubers that I watch, that's what they talk about. In the 80s, if you didn't know what to do, walk around for another 4 hours. Like, you figure it out. There's no Googling what the answer is. You had to hope that maybe you had friends who were playing the same game and they figured it out. And you're like, hey, man, we're like, okay, so I'm like stuck at this wall. Like, and I cannot get past it. Well, did you try hitting it with your sword? No, why would I do that? Give it a shot. Stuff like that. So getting stuck in Restart and then just kind of like doing just a bunch of random shit with what you have available and it works, you're like, that's funny. That's exactly campy enough to make those games work. But the Hollywood Confidential one, the music in this one is one of the best. Granted, I also love jazz noir, kind of like this genre of music, so it really fits. But man, they went above and beyond, I think, for it, because it's also like it's not music that they designed for the app. It's pulled from, I'm very much hoping, open source. But the songs you'll hear in the app is very much songs you've probably heard in this type of genre in other mediums. But they do a lot of the just atmospheric stuff with this one. And kind of tons of ways, not tons, but different ways you can actually get to success. Because normally the cards that are left over are like the penalty cards. And there were a few that we had that weren't those. Because we just went a different route. We didn't ask certain people questions. We didn't use certain items. And sometimes you didn't have to. And I thought that was also nice because a lot of the games are you use every single thing. And that's how you get to the end. This one, surprisingly, you didn't. And it was satisfying. Like, this was the only one, though, that did have a clue. Or not a clue, a puzzle. That I thought didn't work. Actually, it was a nice try. Like, I kind of commend them for having it because it is thematic, but in the actual game it just kind of didn't work, so that it kind of gets a knock on that. But other than that, like, this one was still good even though it was my least favorite. Then we get to the hardest one, or what's supposed to be the hardest, Waff's Odyssey. And this, funny enough, because we did Restart and then Waff's Odyssey back to back, and then the next day we did the Hollywood Confidential. I have never had an easier time with the hardest one in a box before, and I don't know if just the puzzles clicked for me, like the way my brain works. Waff's Odyssey just was smooth sailing. There were, of course, a couple hiccups, which I expected because it's the hardest one, but it was delightful, and it was so much fun to actually be on the hardest difficulty one and just not breeze through it, because that's one they give you 90 minutes to do, and also they do a really cool thing with the app. I mean, one thing about Unlock, since they kind of, which one did they really use the app for? It was kind of Exotic Adventures is kind of when they really started getting creative, and then they just really went gangbusters with the app. Sometimes working, sometimes not. This one, the way they used the app in every single one of these was just, they nailed it. Waff's Odyssey has it also has like an extra element to it that just worked. It was very, very nice. I can't really think of a puzzle in this one that felt like, wow, no, not even an idea. Little bit fiddly in this one in some instances, but overall worked. It was just so smooth sailing, and that's the one that we did the best on, which was nice, because kind of the harder ones you might be a little bit trepidatious to do. Because you don't, like, it's like, oh god, they're just so, like, some of them are just super stupid. Like, who's doing this? Like, this is hard for the sake of being hard, and, like, it doesn't feel creative. Not the case with this one. This one, Waff's Odyssey, was awesome. It's difficult to go into these without specifically looking through cards and talking about specifics, which I don't want to do. But at the end of the day, because I've done a ranking on the Unlock up to a certain point, because there haven't been a lot out. So maybe there's enough out now that since I've done that ranking, that I could maybe do another one. I'll have to take a look. I don't remember where I ended on that ranking list. But this one, after so long of not having, I mean, it could be just a year. It could, I think maybe I remember doing the Legendary Adventures at Gen Con. Not last year, but 2022. So it might have been a couple years, and I don't really remember the game Adventures. I don't remember when that came out. But this one, out of all three, so if I were to rank them like individually, I'd give Waff's Odyssey. I'd give Waff's Odyssey a 9, Restart an 8, and Hollywood Confidential a 7. So 15, 24. So overall, yeah, actually the box gets that average rating of an 8. It's an 8 out of 10. This box is great. Funny enough, like I know I said Restart was my favorite. That's because of the theme. The actual puzzles, Waff's Odyssey and Hollywood Confidential, I think flowed a little bit better, but I really liked the Restart theme. And the artwork, the 8-bit artwork they did was great. They nailed the theme for that one. So that's kind of why it's my favorite. But in terms of actually doing the escape room kind of stuff, Hollywood Confidential and Waff's Odyssey were way better. So yeah, and in Waff's Odyssey, I actually don't know if what reference there was. Like I have the card, so I don't think that they referenced other stuff in this one, at least to my knowledge, on like any of their other unlock series. I'm not seeing it. There might be one that I'm just forgetting, but yeah, I'm kind of just looking through the art real quick, and I'm not seeing anything that stands out. Well, whereas the other two, it did immediately, come out. I was like, oh wait, I remember doing that. So, yeah, I mean that's it. Like, cause I can't go into specifics because I don't want to spoil it. But let me tell you, if you've been kind of like off Unlock for a while because they haven't been hitting it, or it's been a while, I highly recommend checking this one out because they're all great for one reason or another. So I'm very excited. It looks like they have another one in the app called Supernatural Adventures, so maybe they have another triple box coming out. I might check out those short adventures and just play those, do a review over all of them. Let me know if you'd like to see that in the comments, and then I'll take a look and see when I ended the ranking of the first unlock, and then do another one if there's enough to rank. But yeah, anyway, that's my thoughts over Unlock Extraordinary Adventures. Let me know what you think of these in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.